You wake up with ambition burning in your chest, telling yourself that today will be different. Today you'll finally make progress. But as the hours slip by, your energy scatters into 1,000 tiny pieces. The messages, the noise, the endless scroll of distractions. They pull your mind in every direction, but forward. You work hard, but somehow you end the day with the same empty exhaustion, wondering where the time went and why your dreams still feel distant. The world has trained your brain to chase everything, and in doing so, you've lost the ability to stay with anything. Your focus, the very thing that builds empires, finishes books, and transforms lives, has been stolen by a world addicted to speed, but allergic to stillness. But focus, real focus, that is a superpower. It's what separates the ordinary from the unstoppable, the dreamers from the doers. Because the truth is, you don't need more time. You need less distraction. You don't need more motivation. You need mastery of focus. Let's begin. Number 1, the war for your attention. Every day, the battle begins before you even open your eyes. The moment your phone lights up, your mind is no longer your own. The notifications, the buzzing, the colors designed to hook your brain, they pull you into a war you never agreed to fight. Every app, every ad, every algorithm has one mission: to capture your attention, to keep you scrolling, to feed you just enough dopamine to forget what you were actually supposed to do. And while you believe you're choosing how to spend your time, in truth, your time is being spent for you. Your mind isn't tired, it's hijacked. It's been tricked into believing that noise equals importance, that constant stimulation equals progress. But stimulation isn't progress, it's distraction disguised as purpose. You open your phone to check one message, and suddenly an hour is gone. You start your day with intention, and by noon, you're lost in a fog of consumption, scrolling through other people's lives while your own slips quietly into the background. And the worst part, it feels normal. We've built a world where being distracted is not a flaw, it's the standard. You can't walk down a street, eat a meal, or even sit in silence without the impulse to reach for your device. The endless loop of information has become our escape, from boredom, from discomfort, from ourselves. But every time you give in to distraction, you lose a piece of your power. Focus is the foundation of creation. Without it, you can't build, you can't grow, you can't truly live. When your attention is fractured, so is your purpose. You can have the biggest dreams in the world, but if your mind can't stay still long enough to follow through, those dreams will die as digital fragments on a screen. That's what this war is really about. Not your clicks, not your data, but your destiny. Every notification you answer is a decision to serve your mission or someone else's profit. Every time you trade your presence for a moment of distraction, you weaken your ability to direct your own life. We've mistaken being busy for being productive, stimulation for growth, motion for momentum. But real progress, the kind that builds legacy, requires stillness, clarity, and intention. Imagine if all the energy you spend reacting to the world was redirected into creating your own. Imagine if your focus was no longer divided among 1,000 meaningless tasks, but united toward one unstoppable purpose. That's the difference between those who rise and those who remain lost. The focused build, the distracted consume. This isn't just about productivity, it's about freedom, because the person who owns your attention owns your future. So ask yourself, who's in control of yours? Because if you can't control your attention, someone else will, and they'll sell your time, your energy, and eventually, your dreams. Number 2, the psychology of focus. Focus is not just about trying harder or staring at a screen longer. It's not simply about concentration, it's about alignment. Real focus happens when your mind, emotions, and purpose are all pointed in the same direction. Think of it like this. A laser isn't powerful because it's bright. It's powerful because it's concentrated. The same light that barely warms your skin when scattered can cut through steel when focused. Your energy works the same way. Most people aren't weak, they're just divided. They chase 10 things at once and wonder why nothing moves forward. Their mind is in one place, their heart in another, and their purpose nowhere to be found. And in that chaos, progress dies quietly. Because when your energy is scattered, Even your best effort feels empty. You wake up full of ideas, but end the day with nothing done. Not because you lack discipline, but because you never chose one clear direction. Focus begins when you decide what truly matters and are willing to let go of everything that doesn't. That's where clarity is born, not from doing more, but from doing less with greater intention. We live in an age where multitasking is glorified, but here's the truth. Multitasking is the art of doing many things poorly. Your brain isn't built to handle multiple priorities. It switches rapidly between them, burning energy, losing momentum, and dulling awareness. And the more you divide your attention, the less powerful your thoughts become. You might feel busy, but busyness is not progress. It's motion without direction, effort without impact. To truly master focus, you must learn the psychology behind it. Your mind follows what your emotions value. If something doesn't feel meaningful, your brain won't fight for it. That's why clarity isn't just mental, it's emotional. You can't think your way into focus. You have to feel your way into it. When your goal connects deeply with who you are, distraction loses its grip. Suddenly, what once tempted you feels irrelevant. That's what alignment does. It silences everything that doesn't matter. Focus isn't about forcing discipline. It's about designing an environment where your purpose becomes obvious. It's about deciding what deserves your attention before the world decides for you. The most productive people aren't the ones who do the most. They're the ones who protect their time like it's sacred. They don't chase every opportunity because they know that every yes steals energy from their ultimate mission. They've learned that clarity is courage, the courage to choose one path and ignore 100 others. Because when everything matters, nothing truly does. You see, scattered goals split energy. You can't move forward when every direction pulls you apart. But when you narrow your vision, your mind becomes a weapon. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. The noise fades. The urgency dissolves. You feel something rare in today's world: peace. Because focus isn't just productivity, it's presence. It's being so deeply immersed in what you're doing that time bends around you. It's the quiet moment when your mind stops racing and your heart whispers, "This is it. This is what I'm meant to do." That's when you know you've aligned thought, feeling, and purpose. The truth is, most people don't lack motivation. They lack meaning. Without meaning, focus feels like effort. With meaning, it feels like flow. The moment you stop trying to do everything, you finally make progress in something. The moment you stop chasing every shiny thing, you start building something that lasts. Because focus isn't a restriction, it's liberation. It frees you from the endless noise of what doesn't matter. It allows you to direct your mind toward what gives your life depth, direction, and peace. Focus is not about control. It's about connection. It's about connecting your energy to what's worth your time. And when you master that, you don't just work harder, you work wiser. You don't just move, you move with purpose. And that's the secret most people never discover. Focus is freedom, because it frees you from the noise of what doesn't matter. Number 3, the enemies of focus. The enemies of focus don't show up like villains. They sneak in like habits. They whisper instead of shout. They promise you ease, comfort, a quick hit of pleasure. But behind every small distraction lies a quiet theft of your energy, your attention, your life. You tell yourself you're just checking your phone for a second, but that second becomes a scroll. That scroll becomes an hour, and that hour becomes another day lost to the noise. The world today doesn't steal your dreams violently. It distracts you gently. Every ping, every notification, every just one more video pulls a thread from the fabric of your discipline. And slowly, without realizing it, you're left with a life full of motion but empty of meaning. Multitasking has become our badge of honor, yet it's the very thing destroying our ability to go deep. You answer emails while thinking of messages. You listen while planning your response. You work while checking the time. And all the while, your focus fractures. You've become busy, not effective. You've confused movement for momentum, stimulation for success. The first enemy is multitasking. The illusion that doing more means achieving more. Your brain isn't wired for parallel processing. It switches rapidly between tasks, wasting energy every time it shifts. You lose rhythm, clarity, and emotional connection to what you're doing. The cost isn't visible right away, it's subtle like erosion. But over time, multitasking trains your mind to be restless. You start losing patience with depth. You skim conversations, rush through work, avoid silence, because silence feels uncomfortable when your mind has forgotten how to be still. Multitasking is not efficiency. It's avoidance, a way of distracting yourself from the discomfort of single-minded effort. Then there's instant gratification, the second great enemy of focus. Every notification, every like, every short video teaches your brain to crave micro-rewards. Your attention span shortens because your brain is constantly chasing the next hit of dopamine. You start seeking pleasure instead of purpose. Hard work feels dull because you've trained yourself to expect constant stimulation. You want the results of focus without the stillness it requires. But here's the hard truth. Every time you chase small pleasures, you lose the strength for great achievements. Discipline and dopamine cannot coexist. One requires patience, the other thrives on impulse. And the more you feed the quick hit, the less capable you become of long-term fulfillment. Your brain forgets how to wait, how to endure, how to build. You become addicted to the feeling of progress instead of progress itself. And then comes emotional chaos, the storm within. You can't focus when your mind is cluttered with worry, regret, jealousy, or self-doubt. Every unresolved emotion is like an open app running in the background, draining your mental battery. You might be sitting in silence, but inside 1,000 voices compete for attention. Focus isn't just about what you do, it's about what you carry. When your emotions are scattered, your energy is scattered. When your mind is full, your focus is empty. Emotional chaos doesn't announce itself loudly. It hides beneath busyness, pretending to be productivity. You keep moving so you don't have to feel. But the mind that can't sit still can't create greatness. True focus requires peace, and peace comes from order. It's not about suppressing emotion, but mastering it. Knowing when to pause, breathe, and choose your response instead of reacting to every impulse. Comparison is another subtle thief. Every time you measure your life against someone else's highlight reel, you lose the ability to appreciate your own progress. Your focus shifts from creation to competition, from building your path to envying theirs. And in that moment, your attention, the most valuable thing you own, belongs to someone else. You start chasing validation instead of vision. Focus dies not from failure, but from comparison, because it turns your gaze outward when it should be directed inward. Distraction feels harmless in the moment, but its true danger lies in accumulation. Every little distraction is a tiny cut. One video here, one scroll there, one notification in between. And by the end of the day, your mind is bleeding focus. You start losing the capacity for deep thought, deep work, and deep peace. It's not that you don't have time, it's that your attention is being sold, piece by piece, to everything that doesn't matter. You think you're in control, but in truth, you've become a passenger in your own mind. And by the time you realize it, it's not just minutes you've lost, it's moments. The ones that could have built something meaningful. Focus dies not because the world is loud, but because we've forgotten how to be silent. The war for your attention is constant, invisible, and relentless. And if you don't learn to fight it, it will own you. Because every time you give in to distraction, you don't just lose focus, you lose fragments of your future. Every great achievement, every masterpiece, every breakthrough was born in the moments when someone chose depth over distraction. The question is, will you? Number 4, building mental discipline. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about devotion. It's not about forcing yourself to do things you hate, but about choosing what matters more than comfort. Most people think discipline is about restriction, but it's actually about freedom. It's the quiet power that separates those who wish from those who build. It's the invisible force behind every great athlete, artist, and thinker. Discipline is not born from motivation. It's built from meaning. When your why becomes stronger, than your excuses. Consistency stops being hard and starts being natural. You stop asking, "How do I stay motivated?" and start saying, "This is who I am now." Because every time you show up, every time you stay on task when your mind wants to wander, you're teaching your brain who's in charge. You're rewiring your identity, one act of focus at a time. The truth is, your mind isn't your enemy. It's just undisciplined. It moves toward what's easy because it's been trained that way. Every scroll, every shortcut, every moment of avoidance teaches it to crave relief over results. But when you choose to stay still in discomfort, something changes. You start building mental muscle. Discipline is repetition, not of action, but of self-control. It's what allows you to rise above impulses and operate from intention. The moment you say, "I'll do it later," you weaken the bridge between who you are and who you could be. But the moment you do it now, despite how you feel, you build trust with yourself. And that's where real power begins. Because focus isn't just about attention, it's about integrity. Every act of discipline is a promise kept to yourself. Think of your mind as a wild horse, strong, fast, capable of greatness, but untamed. Without discipline, it runs in circles. It gets distracted by noise, fear, and temptation. But when you learn to guide it, not through force but through consistency, it becomes unstoppable. You start to realize that freedom isn't the absence of rules, it's mastery of them. The people who achieve the most are not those who always feel inspired, but those who've trained their mind to move, even when it doesn't want to. They've learned that waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind, unpredictable and unreliable. Discipline, on the other hand, is the engine. It keeps you moving even when the world is still. Every time you resist a distraction, you build focus endurance. Every time you choose to work instead of scroll, you sharpen your blade. You're the sculptor. Focus is your chisel, and with every deliberate strike, you carve away what doesn't matter, revealing the masterpiece underneath. It's slow, quiet work. No one applauds you for saying no to procrastination, or for spending another hour in deep concentration. But those are the moments that build empires. That's where the transformation happens. Not in a flash of brilliance, but in the grind of consistency. Mental discipline also requires forgiveness. You will slip. You will lose focus. You'll give in to comfort and distraction. But discipline isn't about perfection. It's about return. Every time you return to your path, you strengthen your willpower. The comeback is always stronger than the mistake. What matters is not how many times you fall, but how many times you refuse to stay there. True discipline is gentle but firm. It doesn't yell, it reminds. It whispers, "You said you'd do this. Keep going." The greatest shift happens when you stop seeing discipline as suffering and start seeing it as self-respect. Every focused moment says, "I matter enough to finish what I start." The longer you stay consistent, the quieter the noise becomes. Distractions don't vanish overnight. But as your focus grows, they start losing power. You stop being pulled by impulses because you're being driven by purpose. And that's the paradox of discipline. What once felt like effort begins to feel like flow. Master discipline and distractions start to disappear on their own. The world will still be noisy, tempting, and chaotic. But inside you'll be calm, centered, unshaken. Because discipline isn't about controlling your environment. It's about mastering your response to it. It's the art of choosing growth over comfort, depth over distraction, purpose over pleasure. Every time you do that, you're not just becoming more focused. You're becoming more you. And when your focus and your identity align, you become something rare in this world, unstoppable. Number 5, systems that protect your focus. Focus isn't sustained by willpower. It's sustained by systems. You can't rely on motivation to keep you sharp every day, because motivation is a spark, not a structure. What keeps your mind clear and your attention aligned isn't raw effort, but the invisible architecture of your life. Systems are what hold you steady when emotions fluctuate. They are the quiet, consistent patterns that make progress inevitable. Because focus isn't just about what you do, it's about what you design. The way you shape your environment, your time, and your energy determines how easily you can stay aligned with what truly matters. Your environment can pull you forward or pull you apart. And most people are living in spaces, schedules, and habits that work against their focus. Cluttered rooms, chaotic mornings, phones that never stop buzzing, tasks that never end. Focus can't thrive in chaos. It needs structure, simplicity, and clarity. The truth is, your brain is not built for constant decision-making. Every time you decide what to wear, what to eat, or when to work, you burn mental energy. Decision fatigue kills focus faster than distraction ever could. That's why high performers simplify their lives. Not because they're rigid, but because they understand energy is finite. Routines aren't cages, they're freedom. A morning routine, a structured work block, a dedicated time for rest. These are not restrictions. They are focus anchors. They remove friction from your day so you can save your energy for what truly matters. When you don't have to fight through chaos to start, you start faster. And when starting becomes easy, consistency becomes natural. Your environment too is either your ally or your enemy. The desk you sit at, the light in your room, the notifications on your screen, all of it shapes your attention more than you realize. If your space is cluttered, your mind will be too. If your phone is within reach, your focus will always be divided. You don't need to build a perfect setup, just one that removes unnecessary friction. Put your phone out of sight, organize your workspace, and create visual reminders of your goals. Design your surroundings to remind you who you want to be. Because the truth is, you can't rise above your environment for long. Eventually, you'll fall to its level. So build one that lifts you higher. Then there's energy, the most overlooked system of all. Focus is not a time problem. It's an energy problem. You can have 10 free hours, but no focus. If your energy is depleted, protect your sleep. Guard your mornings and respect your rhythms. Know when your mind is sharp and when it needs rest. Learn to recharge without guilt, because rest is not the opposite of focus. It's the fuel for it. You can't pour from an empty mind. Every focused person you admire has built invisible systems to conserve energy and direct it intentionally. They eat, move, rest, and work in alignment with their purpose. That's not discipline alone. That's design. Time blocking is another powerful tool, a way of teaching your brain when to start and when to stop. It turns intention into action. When you assign each task its own block of time, you eliminate ambiguity, which is the enemy of focus. The mind loves clear boundaries, and when you know that from 9 to 11 you're fully immersed in deep work, there's no decision to make, only commitment to keep. These systems aren't about perfection, they're about protection. Protection of your time, your peace, and your purpose. Because when you build systems that support your focus, success stops feeling like a fight, it starts feeling like flow. You move through your days with clarity instead of confusion. You no longer depend on bursts of motivation because you've built a foundation that carries you. Focus stops being something you chase. It becomes something you live inside of. You start to feel a sense of quiet power, the kind that doesn't shout or rush. It just is. That's what systems do. They transform your chaos into rhythm, your willpower into ease, your dreams into daily reality. When you build the right systems, your mind stops fighting to stay focused because it finally feels safe enough to stay still. Number 6. The transformation, becoming a focused machine. There comes a point when something inside you shifts, when the noise of the world no longer drowns out the voice within. That's the moment. Focus stops being a struggle and starts becoming your nature. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly. In the moments when you choose clarity over chaos, purpose over distraction, creation over consumption, you start to notice the difference. The person who used to wake up lost now wakes up with a reason. The same mornings that once felt heavy with confusion now begin with clarity. You know exactly what you need to do, and more importantly, why you need to do it. Your mind no longer feels scattered like broken glass. It feels sharp, aligned, and ready. You don't rush through the day anymore. You move with intention. Every action has a direction. Every choice has a meaning. You're not reacting, you're leading. You've become the architect of your energy. There's a strange peace that comes with this kind of focus, a calmness that lives beneath the drive. You're no longer chasing urgency. You're flowing with purpose. The world still throws distractions your way, but they no longer stick to you. Notifications pop up, trends rise and fall, people pull at your attention, but your mind has become a fortress. You've trained it to stay where it belongs. The same things that once pulled you apart now pass by unnoticed, because when you've built your focus from the inside, the outside loses its power. You start seeing your thoughts like waves. You no longer drown in them. You ride them. And in that calm, something beautiful happens. Your creativity returns. Your productivity rises. But most importantly, your peace deepens. The one who used to scroll for hours now creates for hours. The same screen that once distracted you has become your tool for impact. The energy that used to scatter across 1,000 meaningless tasks now flows like a laser toward one purpose. You start to see results, not just in your work, but in your state of being. You finish the day fulfilled instead of drained. You go to bed, not with regret, but with quiet pride. You've built momentum, and it feels unstoppable. This is what happens when you master focus. Time bends in your favor. 1 hour of clarity becomes more valuable than 10 hours of confusion. You realize success was never about doing more. It was about doing what mattered with undivided attention. People begin to notice the change too. There's a light in your eyes now, not from excitement, but from alignment. You speak slower, but with conviction. You act less, but with precision. You've stopped running in circles because you've found your direction. The things that once triggered anxiety now feel like opportunities to prove your strength. You don't fear boredom because you've learned that silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. You no longer need to escape yourself because you've made peace with your own mind. And that's what it means to become a focused machine. Not cold, not mechanical, but powerful, steady, and deeply alive. Life begins to feel different when your focus becomes your strength. You see progress where there was once procrastination. You find energy in places where you used to feel empty. Your days feel lighter, not because they're easier, but because they're intentional. You've replaced distraction with direction and chaos with control. You move through life with quiet certainty, no longer asking, "What should I do next?" but declaring, "This is where I'm going." The transformation isn't just mental, it's spiritual, because focus connects you back to yourself. It teaches you patience, discipline, and power. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that endures. And as your mind grows still, your purpose begins to roar. The fog lifts and the vision becomes clear. You finally understand that focus was never about restriction. It was about liberation. You've broken free from the prison of distraction. You've stepped into the clarity of creation. The person who once felt lost in noise now lives in silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of strength. You've become grounded, centered, and unstoppable. Because when your mind becomes still, your purpose gets loud. Focus isn't something you stumble upon in a moment of luck. It's something you forge through discipline, devotion, and deliberate choice. Every time you choose to ignore the noise and return to what truly matters, you're not just building a habit, you're rebuilding yourself. The world will always try to pull you away, whispering that multitasking means progress, that busyness equals importance. But deep down, you know better. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about being more present, more intentional, more powerful in every single thing you do. Each moment of focus is an act of rebellion against the chaos. Each moment of clarity is you taking your mind back from the world that's been trying to own it. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, pick one goal, one task, one mission that matters. Block out everything else. Don't chase 100 things halfway. Chase one thing all the way through. Turn off the noise. Put your phone away. Sit in the silence and meet your mind again. Watch what happens when all your energy stops scattering and starts aligning. Watch how powerful you become when your attention becomes your weapon. You'll start to see it. The fog lifting, the energy returning, the purpose sharpening. You'll realize that the strength you were searching for was never missing. It was just divided. Every moment you choose focus over distraction, you're reclaiming your power, your potential, your peace. You're no longer living at the mercy of the world. You're leading it, one focused breath at a time. Because when you master your focus, you don't just control your time, you control your destiny.